Drag racing fan, Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft in studio. It is Between the Slicks live, and we are looking forward to all the drag racing action that we have got this weekend, as long as we can get it in. Do have some drag racing news later on, talking about the action this weekend and what to look out for, and some of the changes in schedules and even cancellations that have already been made. But right here, we're looking forward to talking drag racing with, well, our guest later on, Mr. Leslie Horne. We're going to have him on and chat with him. He is the driver of this beautiful A-gasser in Southeast Gasser competition, the Chick Magnet 55 Chevrolet Gasser. We'll ask him definitely about his hot rod and why this particular name and setup, and it's been paying off very well for him. We'll let him clue us in on what he's been able to accomplish this year. Some records set, reset, and already 2 wins on the season. We'll get an update from him on everything Southeast Gassers as well. Apparently, they had a very interesting start to the season there in Reynolds, Georgia. Good evening, Pat. Good to have you along. Thank you, sir. And each and every one of you watching along, be sure to hit the like button, whether that's on YouTube or Facebook. Hit the share button for me as well. And dive into those comment sections, and let's talk about some drag racing before we dive into drag racing news and get our guest on. Where are you watching from? All those good things. Good to have you right here watching on the Monday Morning Racer platform, Between the Slicks. We do this each and every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we talk everything on drag racing. That's why we call it Between the Slicks. So I want to say thank you to Destroyer 1320. This show is brought to you by Destroyer1320.com. We're going to take a quick break, hear a word from them, and we'll be right back and dive in chatting on drag racing.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your central console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.
Well, concerning Southeast Gasser Association action and content on the Monday Morning Racer platform, I do want you to know that the A-Gas, B-Gas, C-Gas, and the Super Stock Full Elimination videos are up on Monday Morning Racer, and you can see all the action there. And if you want to see a longer version of all this action from Lassiter Mountain Dragway just north of Birmingham, Alabama, well, go to the Southeast Gasser Association YouTube channel. Yes, they have a YouTube channel, and check out the content there. They do a live stream. You can catch the action live from their events, and it is 4 hours long, but it is all of the good information and sights and sounds from the Southeast Gasser event there at Lassiter Mountain. So be sure to check that out. Also, when Tony Stewart came into the sport of drag racing in particular, though he's been involved in motorsports, well, all of his life, open wheel, whether that's on dirt and asphalt, and a champion in those areas such as IndyCar, and then on the full-bodied cars that you and I would understand as a NASCAR, from the what was Busch Series at the time in which he would have been in, now Xfinity Series, to the Cup Series and being a 3-time champion. He has accomplished a lot in motorsports, and his growing relationship with who was Leah Pruitt, now Leah Stewart, Don Schumacher. He stepped into drag racing, and stepping into drag racing, being a team owner of Tony Stewart Nitro, we all thought, I think, or hoping that the case would be that his influence would bring a spotlight onto NHRA drag racing that would be positive. I think we have experienced that. I think we have seen that. I think it should be exploited that much more from NHRA drag racing to some extent, and continue to get any more spotlight on the sport that they can. Many other motorsports have done very well in putting a spotlight on them, and I think there has been a avenue shown in what to take and what to do from some other motorsports that NHRA can even copy for themselves and grow the fan base if they in fact desire it. Case in point, I think, would be F1's rising popularity in the United States of America. They didn't really have to do that internationally, but the U.S. was a holdout concerning the popularity ranks of looking towards F1, and they have broke into the market. Well, the NHRA has got some models to look at now, and I think they can definitely implement it. But having Tony come in was big, and I think there are some dividends paying off this very weekend at Virginia Motorsports Park. First of all, his driver of the funny car, Matt Hagan, it will be his 300th start. This from Tony Stewart Nitro Racing and their social media feed, just putting it out there, his 300th funny car start at Virginia Motorsports Park. I don't think we realize at times Matt Hagan is definitely a veteran of the funny car class. He has been doing this for a long time, multi-time champion, and is somebody that I definitely think in the future we may be talking about him as an individual knocking on the door of Ron Capps and Robert Hight on the win list towards the end of his career. I definitely think nobody is going to be able to catch John Force anytime soon. That role that he got on with Austin Coyle and him at the wheel, it was something special, and I doubt we're ever going to see it duplicated again in NHRA drag racing in any category, much less funny car. But Ron Capps, Robert Hight, their marks I definitely think are attainable, and it's something in which toward the end of Matt's career we could see him right there at the top of the list. But congratulations, 300 starts rolling into Virginia Motorsports Park this year, and him and his teammate will have some partners on board that have had close ties with Tony Stewart for a while now. You see there the livery for the Smithfield NHRA Nitro funny car for Matt Hagan. Smithfield making, I believe, their first appearance in NHRA drag racing and doing it with Matt Hagan. Why is this significant in what I'm talking about? Well, Smithfield has been a long partner with Eric Amarola and the Stewart Haas racing endeavors in NASCAR. And here they are in Virginia, definitely a place that's significant to Smithfield. Now they're sponsoring Matt Hagan for this event. And I'm sure Matt Hagan wants to represent them well and do well in what is his home race in NHRA competition, because he lives there in the great state of Virginia. And then Mobile One. Mobile One has had a long history connected with Tony Stewart Racing and Tony Stewart himself, and they're going to be on the side of Leah Pruitt's hot rod there, as you can see. Definitely a patriotic themes. They look sharp. Looking forward to seeing them on the track and there at Virginia Motorsports Park. But with that being said, again, I think it was important. I think it's great that Tony Stewart coming into the sport, that has happened, and we're starting to see a bit of payoff to that. We see, at least there with Smithfield, a partner coming in that was elsewhere in motorsports, coming to the first time in another motorsport and participating in it. That is good to see, because I think when the NHRA goes to ZMAX Dragway 2 times a year, it is vital for it to bring in partners that are elsewhere in motorsports that understand the value of marketing in motorsports and bring them into NHRA as well, and work out those partnerships and those deals where there is a multi sponsor partnership situation across several different motorsports. We used to see that regularly. For example, Budweiser. What motorsport were they not involved in, it seemed, at one time? I would like to see that again. Do I think we need to see it with tobacco and alcohol? Maybe not necessarily tobacco and alcohol, as great supporters of motorsports they were at one time. No, maybe not, but we need to find those people who are in motorsports that can see value in one motorsport and dip into NHRA drag racing. And I think if they can dip into NHRA drag racing, there very well may be a trickle effect into the other forms of drag racing. They see value in this sport, which oftentimes has the hallmark of what? The best fan interaction in motorsports. Drag racing has lived by that for a very long time, no matter what type of body it is. You can get into the pits, you can talk to the driver, you can get an autograph from them, you've got access. That is something that, well, marketers, they can see and they can recognize and understand that, hey, our fans are going to get close and personal with drivers, cars, teams, so on. So, again, I think Tony Stewart coming in the sport already paying off. It has in other ways, it has now even in the marketing side, and I look forward to seeing what other partners are going to come through him and affect the sport of drag racing. I think that is a good thing. What does Pat say? Pat says, I think Tony Stewart is strong enough that NHRA won't be able to take them away to use them as an event or series sponsor. You know, the NHRA has been guilty of that in the past. We'll see what happens. I mean, if Smithfield decides to step up and become more of a player, then great, that's good. I think you're going to see them still associate with Tony Stewart. But hey, they're dipping into the waters. This is like the first event. And we saw New Holland last year with Matt. And understand, they are still looking for sponsorship for those rides at particular events. A lot of people don't know that, but that was mentioned in a press meeting with Leah Pruitt and not Tony Stewart, but with Matt Hagan before ZMAX. They were still looking for partners. So you have to wonder, who else are they going to find? Who else is going to come along? Drag Racing Central says that pit access doesn't mean anything if no one knows in the area the event is even happening. And which one are you talking about? Like VMP, they've done a great job, I think, leading up to the national event. Hey, we're having a national event. Hey, we're coming back. This is the first time in a couple of years. There is a lot of buzz around VMP. Sadly, as we'll talk about in a few moments, weather is going to be an issue, not just for VMP, but all up through the eastern seaboard. The NHRA, I think, as a whole, has done a better job this year of notifying people of the events happening. And I can say that because I've been to just about every national event, and every time I go into an area of a national event, I have seen more billboards. I have heard radio ads. I have even seen ads on YouTube specifically to an area, and also seen Facebook ads in a specific area. And other than Pomona, the crowds have been good this year. It's been an okay start to the season. I think even a good start for NHRA drag racing. Not only NHRA drag racing, but it's been a good start for many other series of drag racing as well. Now, let's dive in. A lot of drag racing news. I think some good news out there, and drag racing, again, experiencing, I feel, positive notes overall. All right, first up, drag news. Let's dive into one that is not that great to hear. This competitor competes in the Northeast Outlaw Pro Mod Association. They were going to be making a return to Atco Dragway in New Jersey. That is not happening this weekend as it was scheduled. They have canceled as of now due to what is a foreseeable forecast that is not favorable to racing conditions. So the Northeast Outlaw Pro Mod Association will not be running their second points-paying race of 8 races in their 30th season this weekend. And as of right now, there are no plans to reschedule this particular event. If I remember correctly, though, this was not going to be their only visit to Atco this year, so you may very well see them later on in the year at Atco, but they are going ahead and canceling that event. And I know I've already heard people chiming in concerning Virginia Motorsports Park. They have already made, NHRA has a shift in the schedule for Friday, and I've already heard people chiming in, well, if the forecast looks that bad, why don't you just postpone this event and move it? Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to move these events. There are events happening at these tracks beyond national events and beyond pro mod events and beyond what is just happening this particular weekend or next weekend or the weekend beyond. And you also, at this time that we're in right now with what diesel prices are and what lodging can cost, you just cannot ask these teams to, sit here another week or, come back and you were already there. I definitely think Virginia Motorsports Park, that event is going to get in. It looks like the Sunday forecast is favorable enough to get the race in. We might be looking at a Gator Nationals type of situation where we only have one round of qualifying for the whole weekend. Who knows? It is Virginia. It's close enough to the southeast. We're in the month of May. Scattered thunderstorms. They are just that, scattered. Nonetheless, Northeast Outlaw Pro Mod Association, they have canceled their event for this weekend. In good news, again, positive news in drag racing surrounding even the track. So many people want to think all the tracks are going away. Well, here's one track, Great Lakes Dragway in Union Grove, Wisconsin. They have a history all the way dating back to 1955. They did have a 40-plus-year-old surface, but no more. They have a brand new surface. Construction began at the end of the 2021 season. The entire timing system has been rewired as well, including new beams, and their season will kick off in earnest on Memorial Day. But good news right here, Great Lakes Dragway in Union Grove, Wisconsin, brand new surface beyond the burnout box, 200 feet of concrete, new transition into the asphalt, and seamless transition into the shutdown area. Again, positive news in the sport of drag racing surrounding the tracks. Also, I cannot remember the YouTube channel, but I've even reported on Between the Slicks here concerning the track that's in West Virginia that has been dormant for like 6 years. This track has been talked about on Dragzine and other sites. Well, that track, that is a brand new 8th Mile facility. It's ready to go. It's probably going to happen. I think it's West Virginia Racing on YouTube. I'll have to share the link later on the Monday Morning Racer Facebook channel, Facebook page. But they had an interaction. They had a conversation at the track with the individual who is the owner, the operator, who also helped set up the Long Island drag racing with that time system, that things have finally got worked out, and we should expect at this beautiful mountaintop facility in West Virginia, drag racing occurring right there, even though it's taken 6+ years to get to this point. Again, overall, I think there's a lot of positives happening in the sport of drag racing, even with the tracks. Sammy Eubanks, man, how you doing? I'll be singing in the rain here at VMP if necessary, brother. Hey, thank you, man, for entertaining us all and willing to do it even in the rain. Can you do Singing in the Rain, though? Like, I mean, the dance, everything on the platform if it is raining. And have Purple Rain also queued up there, Mr. Eubanks. American Hot Rod Entertainment, yo, good to have you along, Darren. Good to have you along. Continuing, let's talk about some Midwest drag racing. In Midwest drag racing competition, they just wrapped up the throwdown in T-Town this past weekend. And Ronnie Hobbs here in this Todd Tutterow-tuned Mustang screw-blown combination, some career bests, like even running 364 in the finals to pick up the win in Pro Mod competition there at the throwdown in T-Town. Imagine this. Sean Bellemere and the Killer Bees pick up the win in Alcohol Funny Car. And then in the Slammers category, now the Slammers, what is this in Midwest Drag Racing Series competition? These are cars that were not quick enough to make the Pro Mod field, but then they put them in the Slammers field to compete and still earn some money and put on a little better show for those attending. Well, Robert Costa, he picks it up in the Slammers category. Now, at the Midwest Drag Racing Series Pro Mod event, the throwdown at T-Town, that's not the only racing that was occurring. They actually had to wrap up the eliminations from Memphis that were rained out. And in the Memphis eliminations, Stan Shelton, he got the job done in Pro Mod, and Annie Whiteley gets the job done in Alcohol Funny Car. And in that Slammers category, it was Todd Martin getting the technical Memphis win there in Tulsa, wrapping up eliminations in the Midwest Drag Racing Series. To the comment section. American Hot Rod Entertainment, we need Leslie to rap tonight. You know what? We just might get Leslie to do that. I'm going to talk to him tonight, later on here in a few moments, and something that I definitely want to ask him is, hey, when I have your competitors on the show, you like to do some friendly trash talking. You know, is that regular? Does that go on all the time? And do you keep the pot stirred up in Southeast Gasser's competition? So we're going to ask him those things for sure, American Hot Rod Entertainment. Looking forward to the conversation with Leslie Horne tonight, the winner of A-Gas in Southeast Gasser competition there at Lassiter Mountain Dragway. Speaking of the competition there at Lassiter Mountain Dragway, by the way, Lassiter Mountain Dragway, just north of Birmingham, Alabama, in Mount Olive, Alabama, fascinating facility. There are so many great little drag strips around the country that have so much racing going on all the time, whether they're big shows like a Southeast Gasser event to their regular points bracket or test and tune or grudge matches. There's so many great little facilities. I really wish, some of you, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir almost with this particular show and this fan base, but there's some of you possibly watching. You need to not just go to ZMAX. Don't just go to Las Vegas. Don't just go to the track that holds the national meet. You need to go to your little hole-in-the-wall drag strip and enjoy some drag racing on Friday or Saturday night, or when a Southeast Gasser type of a show comes in or a Funny Car Chaos show comes in. Get to your local venue and do it regularly. Enjoy the venue, enjoy the people, become a local, buy a local t-shirt, and enjoy drag racing at your local spot. But Lassiter Mountain Dragway, Google it and go to the images tab. And this drag strip at one time, it's you can tell in the videos that, you're sitting on like this hill, the folks are looking over the drag strip. Well, at one time, you were not just sitting on a hill looking over the drag strip. You were sitting on the mountain looking over, like really looking over. I cannot emphasize enough. I mean, you would talk about like grandstands. Oh, they were grand. They were like a mile high in the air compared to the drag strip. So fascinating facility there, Lassiter Mountain Dragway. But the winners elsewhere in the categories of Southeast Gasser Association competition. Rick Varner gets it done in super stock. I love super stock. I love that class. So many interesting cars in it. And what a beautiful Camaro Rick Varner has got in super stock. He picks up the win in that category. Tim Hall right there, as you can see near to you in the Scalded Dog. He picks up the win in C-Gas. Moving on to B-Gas, Ted McKee in the Rocky Top Missile. You can definitely tell he's a Tennessee guy with that T and that orange. Beautiful car. Gets it done in B-Gas. And then we're going to be talking with the winner of A-Gas here shortly, Leslie Horne, there in Southeast Gasser competition. Further news, good news in the world of drag racing, and a class that I think really needs it, and that is Mountain Motor Pro Stock. Mountain Motor Pro Stock, okay? They have announced that going into Virginia Motorsports Park, they have a presenting sponsor for this race. That presenting sponsor is Grade A Quality Energy Shot. So if you see Grade A Quality Energy Shot, go pick up some of that when you get an opportunity. And can I just say, when it seems like there's every type of energy shot out there. Matter of fact, there's even shots out there to help you go to sleep now. There's a shot for everything, like injection-wise and these little bottles. Excuse me. All right, we'll move right on. Furthermore, they're going to get some help from Stellar Marine. That company is owned by Kurt Steinbach, I believe is his name. Kurt Steinbach. He owns Stellar Marine, and he is putting up $500 to the #1 qualifier there at Virginia Motorsports Park in NHRA competition, which will be the first NHRA outing this year for the Mountain Motor Pro Stock cars, Extreme Pro Stock known elsewhere. And that is an interesting group, because even though the point systems are not carried throughout, the battle really takes place in the PDRA. They've already had 2 events. They're at Galop Motorsports Park and to Beach Bend. They're in Kentucky. Well, now they come together and they're going to go quarter mile instead of 1/8 mile. And it would be interesting one day if someone put together a points fund that was separate from PDRA, that was separate from NHRA, and said, we're going to take all of the races into account, and we're going to pay the champion of all of these events, quarter mile and 1/8 mile, PDRA and NHRA, some extra dough if they can nab it. I think that would be pretty cool. But their first NHRA outing for the Mountain Motor Pro Stock guys coming up, Virginia Motorsports Park. Continuing on in drag racing news, let's very quickly take a look at the NHRA points standings going into this weekend. Top Fuel, Brittany Force stands atop. Second is Mike Salinas, 17 points out. Justin Ashley, they're in third, 46 points out from first. Steve Torrance is fourth. Fifth, Clay Milliken. Clay Milliken, I think, is having a quiet, good year so far. Keep an eye out for him. And Doug Coletta has managed to put himself 8th in points. I know that's not where we would think he would be this far along in the season and having Alan Johnson, but he is there sitting in 8th. And I do want to give a shout out. Doug Foley is sitting 11th. Part-timer. That good run they had at the Gator Nationals has him sitting 11th right now, only 12 points out from 10th. And 10th is currently Antron Brown, and that's someone I definitely would expect by this time of the year in the season he would be higher in the rankings. Now switching to funny car, Matt Hagan leads the way. Robert Height is second, 22 points out. Ron Capps is third. John Force in fourth, and then Cruz Petragon rounding out the top 5 there. And I think when you look at the top 10, you look at the point situation, Tim Wilkerson is not having the year so far up to this point that I think you would expect him to have. In fact, Chad Green, a car in which he tunes, sits 1 spot ahead of him in 9th. And then we'll take a look at Pro Stock Motorcycle. They are competing this weekend. Pro Stock is not competing. Again, Mountain Motor Pro Stock along with Pro Mod and Factory Stock Showdown are the door slammers competing at NHRA Virginia National. Steve Johnson, he leads the way. Karen Stouffer, second. Eddie Craywick is third. Fourth, Joey Gladstone. Fifth is Angie Smith. And then I think definitely Matt Smith. Matt Smith, I know he's going to figure it out. He's going to come screaming on later on in the year when he has the combination figured out, but he sits currently seventh. And that is not a place he is used to or accustomed to sitting at, for sure. Let me look at the comment section really quick, and we will then move on and get Leslie Horne on here and chat with him about the win in AGAS at Lassiter Mountain Dragway. Tom, Collar Blog Nation, says Monday Morning Racer is the GOAT 100%. Look, man, I appreciate that. Just trying to get the drag racing information out there and the racing out there. You know, like this weekend, I will also cover a sprint car race at Lakeview Motor Speedway in Nichols, South Carolina. And that's the Carolina Sprint Tour. As long as weather holds out, be covering that event and then heading up to Virginia Motorsports Park Sunday and possibly testing Monday. That's a great service. Great surface I expect teams to test. Jacob Edwards, a big fan of drag racing and a man that is perpetually working on his Nova and may get it done before he dies, hopefully, and we can see it compete. Maybe I can get to film it. Nonetheless, he was at Southeast Gasser Association competition there at Lassiter Mountain. He says it was great, and it was a stellar show. At this time, let's take a break, and right after the break, we will have our guest on, Leslie Horne, the winner in AGAS competition. This word from Power Built Tools.
Power Built Tools exemplifies innovation in the tool industry. From hand tools, power tools, and even tool storage. Check out powerbuilt.com for Power Built Tools. And remember, use promo code MMR15 for 15% off at purchase.
All right, folks, look, I've got about 20 people watching on YouTube, but I only have 9 likes. Hit that like button for me on YouTube as we bring in the AGAS winner at Lassiter Mountain, Mr. Leslie Horne. Leslie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Lee. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Glad that you finally won an event that I covered so I can have you on the show. Usually you're in the comment section trash talking, but now we've got you live and everyone else can trash talk while you're on. And is that just your personality? You like to funnily stir the pot a little bit out there and take a competition?
Sometimes we do, but we all pick on each other. I mean, at the end of the day, we all love each other until we get to that burnout box, and then we hate each other for about 5 seconds, and then after that, we back love each other. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, a lot of family. It's just a great atmosphere to be around, and I mean, yeah, we try to stir as much as we can.
Awesome, man. Well, what is your racing background? Is it first into Southeast Gasser Association competition? Was there racing elsewhere? Why Sega now, and if you were doing anything else before the Southeast Gassers?
Well, back in the street days, I used to do a little bit of street racing, drag racing and stuff. And then in the 90s, early 90s, I got into road racing motorcycles and road race with it was Wera and CSS back then was the name of it. And in 95, I won a championship with them, riding some Honda stuff and some Zuki stuff. And then took a break, got married after that, took a break for a while. And then my son, he was really into NASCAR. And so I've known Quayne my whole life. I'm from Green Creek originally, North Carolina. And he was doing this thing. And I went to a race and seen, I think it was Jimmy Huff in that hoopty wagon. He was turning that thing to the moon, and I got hooked. And so I told my son, I said, let's build one of these things and go racing. And that's kind of what we did with the Stud Muffin. And that was in 18 was the first time I went to Myrtle Beach. And then that was the year that it got flooded right after that. I don't know if they've run no more since then, but went and made one race there, and then I was going playing every Thursday night, and I messed my car up right after that. And went back to Gene's, and we fixed it. He grumbled about that old motor and that old junky car and all that stuff. But then it started doing really good, and we went back to the races, and we went back, and I think it was the first of 19. We just had a real good season, real good year. Everything kind of come together. It's tough competition, and but it's at CGAS is a tough car to drive. If you miss your gear shift RPMs is down, whatever, those little engines. I was running the 292 at that time in 19, but anyway, it's fun to go, and I just kind of got hooked. I done it for my son, and then it turned out that I fell in love with it, fell in love with the people there, and it just, kind of become a part of me. And so I put forth a good bit of effort in it since then.
Wow, two-wheel world. I don't get to catch enough two-wheel motorsports action that I would like to, but I love it, whether it's flat track or superbike or, the baggers have become really popular here lately. But so what are some of the courses you raced on? Ever raced on, Virginia International Raceway or Atlanta, those places?
Yeah, rode Atlanta all the time. We was there all the time. Rumlin Road down in Savannah. Went to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Daytona. I even run into Daytona 200. I think it was in '94 or something. It was a long time ago.
Oh, so you've been on the high banks?
Yes. Oh, yeah, several times.
Man, talk to me about that. I know we're drag racing, but talk to me about on a motorcycle, on the banking. That's got to feel like one of the most exposed moments on a bike ever.
It's really not that badly. You have to get right up next to the wall when you come out on the banking. You have to ride about 2 or 3 inches off the wall. You kind of like in a pocket. Your bike's a whole lot faster up there, and it's actually more stable. You can tell when you get out of that pocket, the bike starts wobbling and stuff. And it took it the first couple of times I went. It was a real eye opener whenever you especially went from the transitions up to the thing. But after a few times, it was no big deal. You couldn't go fast enough. You was coming down the back stretch. And back this time, the 600s was running 170, 180 mile an hour for what 600 cc's was running at that time. And you just couldn't make it go fast enough. You felt like you wasn't running 100 coming up through there. But, yeah, it was really exciting times.
Awesome, man. Well, let's talk about your hot rod that you have right here. This photo I got of you in Q2 launching from the line, the Chick Magnet, beautiful black 55 Chevrolet. Why a shoebox? Why Chick Magnet? And give me the rundown on the motor, who built it, and just everything about your hot rod, man.
Okay. Well, this car, a lot of people knows this was the Opel Rider. This was Shannon Smith's car. I acquired it I think it was in early 2000, I think. After I won the championship in 19, I bought it somewhere around that range. Went out and we changed a bunch of stuff on the car, Lee. I mean, we've changed a lot of stuff on the car. Brian Harris Race Cars has done a ton of work to this thing to get it to where it's at. But Shannon had good success with it too, and he decided that he wanted to move on to other stuff. And he had mentioned it to me one day. I'm a good friend of Shannon's, good friend of mine, and he had said that he had thought about selling it, and he threw the price out there, and I don't think he thought I was going to buy it. So I went and bought it, and then we started from there. And it's been a good car. It's been hard to jump from C gas to A gas. That first season, 2020, we had a lot of breakage, a lot of time to learn how to drive the A gas car versus the C gas car, because the C gas cars, you just stomp it to the floor, hold it, grab gears, and hope for the best. This one here, you don't really want to stomp it to the floor, especially leaving the line. If you do, you're going to be over there running over some spectators. But it took a little while to get used to it, and we finally this year we have done some small changes to the car. We actually still run the same engine we run last year, even though I have a real nice engine to go in it. And Gene Fulton does my engines, as most people knows, but we have changed a few things on the car, and I started driving the car like a big block instead of a small block, and the car has really started acting a whole lot better. And it's kind of like it's paying me back for respecting it a little bit more now, so it's doing good.
Why Chick Magnet?
It come off of Stud Muffin. Stud Muffin, that's what the wagon was, and we was trying to come up with names. We thought about Super Stud. We thought about a few things, and the Chick Magnet come to me actually with the help of Pat from Ram Clutches. He helped me with it a little bit, but we've got the icons, the emojis, and we come up with the Chick Magnet. So we went to Chick Magnet, so Super Stud. That's kind of how that come about. And Stud Muffin name was a name that I was called back in high school a long time ago. So it was just one of those little names. That's where that came from.
All right. I like it. Playing off the other car and moving forward. And
Lee, another
theme.
Yeah, and another thing too, I wanted to do something that the kids could remember too. The guys are going to look at and say, man, this dude's driving a car with Chick Magnet on the side of it. But I wanted something that the kids could remember too, because I want the kids to get involved. And every time I see a kid, I try my best to stop and talk to them or whatever, and, give them a shirt. But I like to see the kids, and I love the parents to bring the kids out to the races.
Well, speaking of shirts, merchandise, see that you're wearing a Chick Magnet shirt right now. Where can people purchase some merchandise? Do you have that set up? Be outside the
Don't
track?
don't really have nothing set up outside the track. They can message me. I can mail them out to them. Whatever. They can message me on the YouTube. I mean not YouTube, Facebook, through Messenger, and I can get them something that way.
And you do have a racing page, correct?
I do. Yes, I do. What is it now? I changed it because I took stud muffin off of it. It's Sega 55 Chevy Chick Magnet Racing. I think
All
is what
right,
it is.
there
Is
you
that
go.
right?
There you go. There you go. Look,
Did I do
look up
good?
Chick Magnet, look up Sega, you'll find it. There you go. There
Yeah,
you
that's
go.
right.
Well, man, look, let's dive into Sega competition this year in 2022. And first, you were there. I want to get your thoughts on it because I haven't got the full story, but apparently, Silver Dollar Raceway in Reynolds, Georgia, it didn't go that well, from what I understand. So, what happened, and how did everybody overcome the adversity that the Southeast Gasser group was dealt?
It was, well, Lee, as a lot of you know, I was sick. And that was my first kind of race back. And I was down there, and the wind was blowing really, really bad. I mean, it was really blowing, and it was really cold. I think it was Saturday morning or through the night, it had rained. The track was wet. They worked on trying to get the track dry. They did work hard trying to get it dried up, but the temperature was so cold. I don't think it got up above 40 something degrees that day, and the wind was blowing. It might have got 50, but it was just so cold. We was able to get, I think, a round, maybe 2 rounds of qualifying in, which was really, really sketchy for several people. Well, as y'all know, there's Rick Varner and Barry Lynn. You know, they had a little bump in with each other too, and it's so then we went to Sunday, was going to try to run it, and then right when we get ready to get started, we had the equipment failure. They couldn't really get the Christmas tree to work on the right hand side. They worked on it and they tried their best, and I mean they did work hard for probably about 2 or 3 hours. Well, then it was starting to get cold again and getting dark, so basically we just kind of canceled it. And Quayne come around and talked to us, and some of us decided to just run a couple of rounds just for the spectators. We all walked away that was there that had qualified the day before. We all walked away with 25 points that was still there, that was still in. And it was really just something we done for the spectators, to just so it wouldn't be a total waste for everybody. But it was but we still had a good time, and we got to work a few gremlins out of the car too. So that got us ready for Shady Side.
And Shady Side, from what I understand, was a good race for you personally. You picked up a win and reset some records, but it was a big race. As people can look over my shoulder, it was the memorial race towards Gene Cromer.
Gene Cromer Memorial.
Instrumental in Gasser racing in the Southeast and connected to the Southeast Gasser Association.
Yes, it was. And there was a big turnout there. Despite the weather, Lee, it was pretty cold. I don't know if you got to make it up there or not, but It was pretty cold and windy. And, you know, most of you know Shady Side has got tiers that you own, 1, 2, 3 tiers down. But when I tell you that top tier was cold up there, what was that? So, but we was able to get the race in. Had a real good turnout. I mean, I was really impressed with the folks that come out, and had a good time. The race did go my way. The air was really good. The cars was really running fast. A lot of cars was making power. We was able to manage the power with Brian Harris, able to keep my car tuned to get it down the track with him and carburetor Bob. We had to detune the car a little bit to get it down the track, but we managed to get it down through there, and we probably had some of the best passes we'd ever had at Shady Side to date. I mean, it was really that good. I mean, it was like the car couldn't do nothing wrong.
Well, going into Lassiter Mountain, did you feel like, hey, after that win, we've got the momentum, we can come in here and knock out the competition and pick up another win? Or, you know, you typically go into events and you're like, you worry about everything that could go wrong. Where do you stand as a competitor in the moment?
This year, I'm trying not to really worry about nothing that's going on, and I don't never take nothing for granted in A-Gas. I mean, it's literally whoever leaves leak. I mean, if whoever gets to drop on the other driver, that's usually who wins. That's how close A-Gas is. Yeah, there's other cars that you're scared of more than others, but even just like Dean Jonas, you know, he put a tree on me. I think it was the second round. I didn't know if I was going to catch him. I mean, I was eating 5 sandwiches when I left that one. But I was lucky enough to catch him right at the line. So you just don't never know in A-Gas. You can't take nobody lightly. Everybody's fast. Everybody's close. I mean, even the two first round qualifier, they had the same exact time. The two number one qualifiers in first round, and they had to go to the mile an hour, and there was only like a hundredth off or something, the mile an hour to get first to second. So it's extremely close racing.
Well, speaking of that close racing, and folks, you can see the A-Gas video in full on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel, but we're going to look at a round-by-round situation and talk with Leslie about his march through the field and picking up the win at Lassiter Mountain. So be sure, dive in the comment sections if you got any questions for Leslie, but we're going to cue up the first video, round one, right here. Well, some issues at the tree there for, I believe that's Kenneth in the Silver Streak, but you were able to pick up the round win nonetheless. Did that affect you at all? What was going on there in the left lane?
No, it didn't. And Kenneth, he's really, really strong. You know, Gene does his motors too. He runs the small block version, and it's probably one of the baddest little small blocks that you can have. He's always tough, and he's always somebody to worry about, and he always cuts a tree on you. So when we got down to the end, I figured he was broke or something. He just pulled up to the line, just hoping I would mess up. But he told me that when he had tore his transmission out in the second round of qualifying, he tore third gear out. Well, they got it back in time to race, and he said he forgot to hook his line lock up, so he just rolled through the beams. That's what happened to Kenneth. If not, that would have been a race right there.
Sure would have been. Well, look, before we take the footage from round two and give it a glimpse, Pat has got a question on what determines your engine combination. So for the folks that don't know, many may be watching, they don't know, give us the rundown on how this ABC gas thing works in Southeast Gasser Association competition.
Right. We'll start with A-gas. A-gas is 6 pounds per cubic inch. Now, if you run a big block, there is a slight reduction there. I have to weigh 5.75, and that's in order to keep some big blocks out there. If not, everybody be running small blocks. And then in B gas is 8 pounds per cubic inch, and then the C gas is 10 pounds per cubic inch. That's the reason why you see all the high winding little motors or little engines in C gas.
There you go. Yes, it's definitely a very interesting way they're stacked up, and yet throughout all the A, B, and C, they all put on a great show, even though, you know, they might be a little bit slower. Then like really my favorite class, I love Superstock. I really like what those cars are out there. You know, Mercury Poison, Rick Varner's got a beautiful car, some Mustangs, and some pony cars are in there. That's a very interesting segment. And then it, you know, the potential for H-Gas and AFX. Southeast Gassers have got a great thing going on for sure. So round two, you mentioned it a little bit earlier. We'll take a look at it now, but you had to do some pedaling and catching up to your competition. Man, that was a close one.
I didn't know if I was going to catch Dino or not. I was looking over that little orange car, and I was stretching as all I could do. I could get all it got. And actually, that run right there was another record run. I guess I'm going to have to be behind a little more often to set some more records. But, yeah, that was the record pass there, and I've set the record again from Shady Side. So, yeah, I was having to give it all I got. And I really didn't think I was going to catch him, Lee. I really didn't. I don't think he thought I was going to either. So,
that was one, me filming, and, you know, with filming, there used to be a day and time when it was hard to keep up with the action, but you know, with filming Top Fuel, with filming Pro Mods, you know, just now I've become accustomed to looking through that viewfinder and things slowing down, even for me, and watching that race unfold. I'm like, ooh, this is going to be close. And I'm like, and when the wind light came on in your lane, I was like, wow, he ran him down. That was impressive.
That's about the same thing I was saying too. About the same thing I was saying.
Yes. I don't know how much betting was going on there at Lassiter Mountain, but I'm sure some folks were like, whoa.
I'm sure some folks were sweating for a minute there on that one. But
yes, I bet so. I bet so. Now, at what point did you have some mechanical issues? Apparently, there was a little bit of hurt with the car at some point.
Yes, that was in round two qualifying. I pulled down when I done the burnout. I heard something, a little noise, but I got the philosophy of Gene. Gene says send it. It don't matter. We'll fix it. So I went ahead and sent it, and the car run good. But when I got to the other end, I mean, it was just beating like a pea thrasher. I mean, I thought, man, did I knock the rod out of this thing, or have I got a rod that stretched, bent, didn't break, what it was? But then I got my time slip, and I was like, well, it ain't hurt too bad. So then went back to the pits, pulled the valve cover off the right side, and we had I still run lash caps. This motor this engine I'm running is an older engine. It's the one that's been in the car for forever, and I have lash caps on my exhaust valves, and one of the lash caps are broken in half. Well, I found half of it. I don't know what the other half is. I'm just hoping it's in the oil pan, because if it ain't, it's got to be in there now, because I done run it 3 more rounds since then. But we got that fit. We didn't have a lash cap with us because I didn't have my rig with me. So we just adjusted the valve down, snowed it up. We had good clearance. Wasn't really worried about knocking the lock loose or nothing on it. So we went out there and run the first round there with Kenneth with no lash cap, and then Barry Lynn come to the rescue with a little red wagon. He had a lash cap, so we put it on for the rest of the race. And so that's how it went. But then I think it was the round with Dean, which would have been the second round. And when I done my burnout, I felt a little clunk. I felt something that was either in the rear end or either in transmission. So that's the reason why whenever I had the buy run, I didn't run it out. I usually run the buy runs just for the spectators, just for one night to put on the show. But that's the reason why I didn't take a chance on running. I pulled down, broke the beam, and then backed it back up to the trailer because I knew I had one more round after that. So that's the reason for that. But I made it through with that. I still had tore the car apart. It's still sitting up here beside me. We're going to get to work on it tomorrow. I've had to play catch up all week this week at work. But we was able to get by with the last cap, and was able to get by with probably a tooth knocked off of a ring is probably what we got. And then we got down to the last. Okay, we'll stop there. We'll talk about the last round in a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll show the footage, but yeah, you had in the semifinal matchup, you had a buy run, and like you said, you just broke the beams, picked up the win, and then you have got to go up against defending champion Gabriel Burrell in that Southern Flyer. And what a wonderful thing it is to see a sedan go up against a shoebox and high flying and revving and all. Just Southeast Gassers drag racing is so good. And I'm blessed to be a part of, I think, two of the best growing and most growing in popularity drag racing series as there are. When I get a chance to go cover Sega, and then I work for Funny Car Chaos, it's the best of both worlds for sure. But yeah, interesting final round. Let's take a look at it right now. Well, man, you said that no matter what was going to happen, send it. And that's how Gene thinks, and that's what you think, and you certainly did. There was, I wonder, were you in the burnout like, please hold together, please? Hold together.
Yeah, that's the way I was. And actually, I done a little bit of a short burnout because I was, like I say, I was a little bit worried about the center chunk coming out of it. But then when I left, I'm always worried about Gabe. Cuts great lights. Most of all these boys cut lights, and sometimes I get caught, sleeping. But I pulled up there and I left, and I actually left on him. I couldn't believe it. And but left on him, and then the car spun. I was like, oh no, that's all it takes. I mean, little something that small is about all it takes with the Southeast Gasser when you get to the A gas and get to the finals. And I glanced over at my provisional vision. I didn't see him. And I grabbed another gear. When I grabbed second, I knew then. I said he's not going to be able to come back around if he's right there. So I made it down to the end, and then after it's over with, I pulled up there, and right where I had to pull into the victory circle was where he was parked. And I was like, man, what kind of light did you cut? He said, well, neither one of us could drive. Neither one of us cut a good light. He said, mine was worse than yours. So anyway, but yeah, we have a good time with it. But he's always tough, hardworking, works hard to make that old Ford run. Might have to put a Chevrolet part on every now and then to get it down the track, but he does a good job.
See, there's that talking right there. There it is. No, I do like that, throughout drag racing, we get these battles, Ford, Chevy, Mopar, beyond. We also get these battles between engine builders. And like, for example, in the Mountain Motor Pro Stock range, Sonny Leonard and Kazi, and you even get that in Southeast Gassers with Gene and Kazi and whoever else might have this engine provider. And you get these little battles within the bigger battle in competition, and that is cool to see for sure. So Leslie, let me bring it full circle. Here you are, you're in a 55 Chevrolet. A lot of people would look at what's happening in the Southeast Gasser Association drag racing and go, well, that's nostalgia drag racing. It's not really the top of the sport. It's not like a pro mod NHRA or PDRA or some nitro burning funny car. And you were doing the bike thing, even Daytona on the high banks. Are these cars really that exhilarating, really that hard to drive in comparison to so many others?
Well, it'd be hard for me to answer that because I drove stuff on the street. I hadn't never really drove no drag cars, but I will tell you they are a handful and do have a mind of their own. It's they are hard to tame. And like I say, we've got the 55 probably working the best it's ever worked. Like I say, thanks to Brian Harris race cars. I mean, it just goes straight down through there every time. And it may go crazy at the next race, but it's doing good right now, and it probably will because we're gonna probably put some new engine and stuff in it and try to get some bugs worked out of it also. So we got some learning to do on that one. It's a completely different combination. So we'll see.
Yeah, going into, next race is in Ohio. What do you think of that track? What has your experience been like there? Any wins or any upsets?
Yes, I won there last year. I'm pretty sure I won in Ohio last year. I know, I did. I won Indiana and Ohio. The first time I went there, a funny story, that was a quarter-mile track. Well, they had these little pylons sticking on the side of the track down through there. Well, I take off down through there, and this is like my first year in A-Gas, and I ain't paying no attention. I get down to the end, I'm like, good Lord, this thing, I'm hitting the rev limiter. I'm in fourth gear. I run at a quarter mile. My doors was about to blow off the car. So anyway, I had to make sure I didn't do that the next time. But anyway, that was kind of an eye-opening experience. So I have run at a quarter mile before. I have no idea what it run, but I didn't mean to.
So there has been a Southeast Gasser quarter-mile run.
Yeah. I think they run some back before me, too. I think they run a couple somewhere. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I will be at a quarter mile much faster than what we're going now. I'll tell you, I actually ate lunch with Quayne yesterday, and he was telling me, he said, Lassiter, if you go back and look in the early 90s, the pro mods back then in the early middle 90s, was not a whole lot faster than what you're running right now. That is, it'd be a real close race. That's hard for me to believe because, back I didn't know no better, and back then I just thought they was absolutely flying. He said back then if you was running in the high fours or 490s, you was the man back then. So anyway.
Yes, it's insane what the Southeast Gasser cars are doing with being period correct, and it can tell that just shows you how much tire and track tech and prep has come along. Not that there's a lot of prep, but just everything's better than what it was back in those days. And then you mentioned, yes, the other door cars of such as Pro Mod. I mean, you go to a PDRA event, it is insane what they are doing. And it's technically not even outlaw there. And then you go to like ADRL, which is racing this weekend in Texas, and yeah, it's nuts.
Well, and most people knows we got a lot of rules that we have to go by. We got a lot of strict rules. The clutch has to be disengaged every shift. You don't have no power additors, no electronics. I mean, yes, we can run a 6AL box, but that's it. That's just to catch the high side. So it's if you think about it like that, I mean that's hard to believe. You're talking about a single disc clutch. You ain't talking about no slipper clutches. You ain't talking. I mean, it's a slipper clutch, but a single disc. It's not multiple discs. But it's hard to believe at what some of the times these cars is running, and it's the scary part for me is still starting to feel a little bit slow. So I wish I could get a little bit faster, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to or
not. Well, already resetting some records within the A-Gas category, and I'm sure whenever you figure out whatever next combination it might be after repairing and diving in, might be some more resetting of records out there in Southeast Gasser competition. Well, Leslie, look, take the time and just say thank you to whoever you need to say thank you to.
First of all, I want to thank the fans. Fans is number one. Without the fans, we can't do this. I mean, they're more important than any sponsor that helps me is these fans and bring these kids out to these races. Really enjoy them. Thank all the Sega staff for everything that they do to get us there and make sure we get the races in. I mean, sometimes we have hiccups, but we usually get through it. We put on a pretty good show. We have a good time. Second of all, I got to thank, Gene Fulton. I mean, he helps me. He bends over backwards whenever I tear stuff up. He is the master of packing stuff up. Ram Clutches, Pat and Mike Norsha, they help me all the time. I mean, there's phone call away. I mean, just an hour and a half from me. I'm running stuff to them. They just take care of me. Roby Merritt at G-Force Transmissions, just wonderful, wonderful to work with. Also, I got Robbins Repairables that has rode with me for 4 years now. That's some good friends of mine. It's robbinsrepairables.com. They sell late model used auto parts. They got a real big business up there. And then a company, Ken Investment, that invests in real estate. Helps me a lot to get me up and down the track. Other than that, other than the fans, and I also need to thank everybody that helps me. Logan, Larry, Floyd, Brian Harris, his wife, Robin Harris. I mean, without any of them, Carburetor Bob, without any of them, it's hard for me to get there. It would be hard for me to even think about getting there without any of them. There you go.
All right. Well, Leslie, hope your 2022 championship campaign and Southeast Gassers Association competition continues to fare well for you, and we all get to experience and see some great action throughout the rest of the year. Thank you for coming on the show and talking about the win, man.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you for all the coverage that you do for us and everything that you do for us. We really appreciate you being there.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
All right, folks, look, we're going to take one more quick break, and then we're going to wrap the show up tonight and clue you in on just, again, what else may be happening in the world of drag racing this weekend. This word from Hero Soap Company. Have you got clean lately? Well, get clean and clean with freedom.
Hero Soap Company is a veteran-owned establishment that produces all-natural, essential oils-infused soap that is sold with a portion of the proceeds supporting other veteran groups. Hero Soap Company. Heroes supporting heroes. Be a hero yourself and buy a bar and let freedom clean.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Between the Slicks. I'm Lee Craft, the Monday Morning Racer, your host. We do this each and every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and talk about drag racing from the Stars of Southeast Gasser Association to the PDRA, NHRA, Funny Car Chaos, crew members, promoters. If it deals with drag racing, we want to talk about it right here on Between the Slicks. Where are you going this weekend? Are you going to be able to catch the action at Virginia Motorsports Park for the NHRA Virginia Nationals? Maybe you're in the Midwest or in the Texas area and you can catch the ADRL, American Drag Racing League. They are going to be at Ennis, Texas Motorplex this weekend. Maybe you can catch the action there, or maybe you've got a local event that I haven't heard about that you are going to be at. Put that in the comments section even after the show and enjoy drag racing. I think we've got a lot that we can be thankful about in this sport as motorheads, and there's a lot to enjoy right now from the big boys to the no-names. There is a lot to enjoy in the sport of drag racing. Pat says, thanks for another great show. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate that. Jacob, he says, the SNRA, Macon, Georgia, that is Southern Nitrous Racing Association or something like that, isn't it? Jacob, put in the comment section what that acronym is. It's like Southern Nitrous Racers Association or something like that. It is a door slammer group, and they are, Jacob says, yes, that's what it is. And they run nothing but nitrous pro mods. So think of, maybe like some older pro mods, basically running nitrous, very similar to kind of what the Big Dog program is at Piedmont Dragway. But this one does move around to tracks in Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. And if you haven't seen those events, I haven't seen one myself. I want to get to one eventually myself and maybe even film. Maybe we can have the promoter on one night. But Southern Nitrous Racers Association, check that out if you're in the deep lands of Dixie and catch some great nitrous door slammer action. Thank you all for watching. Look, catch the great action that is on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel right now from the Southeast Gasser event at Lassiter Mountain. Again, there is the A-Gas full elimination video, B-Gas full elimination video, C-Gas full elimination video, and also Super Stock full elimination videos to enjoy. To each and every one of you, thank you for watching, and until next time, God bless and keep the pet